I'm going to be hitting on some harsh truths in this video, and the question is, can you handle it?
A better you starts today.
It's the same harsh truths that everyone hits. I'll use the Paul Joseph Watson accent for it because I think that his voice makes the point funnier, which is modernity. I think we all understand. Can we all try to define in our minds what modernity is as a mindset? Because, in fact, I'll just do it. I've just remembered you can't talk. Here's what I think it is. I think the modernity mindset is sort of this endless swill of, Is that a good definition? No words at all? It's the only one you're going to get out of me. And it's because I woke up in that same malaise that I'm sure most of you did as well. Sort of walking through this highly sophisticated civilization that we have no idea how it works whatsoever. We have general concepts in our mind. I'm looking out at a bunch of apartment blocks at the moment because I'm looking at a city that is slowly turning into a very cheaply, shittily built Hong Kong. It's not my Sydney. But I do like my particular suburb of it. I think that they did that well. It's one of those fake new suburbs that they created in Sydney of, ugh, what a mess. Someone should make a suburb that works. Someone did. And I'm not going to finish that sentence. And I've narrowed it down greatly. But anyway, you walk through this kind of very plastic, fantastic world that we live in, and you have no idea how water gets into your house. Some of you might be water engineers, I don't know, but not all of you are. I sincerely doubt that my entire audience works exclusively at Sydney Water. Yes, another Jordan Shanks video comes in. Time to learn how to improve because you're a bunch of bureaucrats sitting on your asses. So there's the first point. You don't know how water comes into your house. I have no idea how electricity works. And frankly, I don't care either. I don't want to know. It sounds boring to me. Anytime I've ever seen one of those maps where, this is the input and this is output. Shut up! Just does it work or not? You pay huge amounts of money to somebody else. Just make it do the thing it's supposed to do. Everyone sits there, housing is a real scam. This is how I know that housing... And I'm king of this. This is how housing... This is a problem. We're just talking about the economics of it. Let alone the construction of it. Let alone planning. Nothing. Just... Unless you're very specified in a very specific field, you have no idea what you're talking about. And I think that all of us are walking through a society where there are very, very sophisticated, specific jobs, both private and public sector, where really it's impossible to know how a city functions, let alone a nation. You will never have a grounded understanding of it. Some politicians, if they're really good active politicians, will have a less than completely basic understanding of it. And that's the best that you can hope for in life. A less than completely basic understanding. Of course. In that world, where does that leave you? It is confusing. I am so glad that I'm Australian. Can you imagine the feeling of this in China? Imagine being one of the I don't know how many they've got now, how many of them popping out now? 1.3 billion. Imagine being one of them sitting like, oh, how do I fit in? How? I don't know. It's just too complicated. And so you are walking around in this artificial environment that somehow all slots in together, somehow seems to be barreling along at a quite impressively well. Really, by all of history's standards. I know that there is a lot of mistakes that have been made along the way to get to this process, and people are always sitting there and focusing on a lot of problems, in inverted commas, because I think that a lot of people just focus on problems that don't exist, and then hyper-focus on that, and then think, and then it's capitalism. What is that? I don't know. Right? So they are just, it's, what do you do? What do you do? What is a good mindset to go through in life? I think, generally, if you can hold the two ideas at once of sort of, you're a speck in the dust of the sands of history, that is actually a very liberating thought in itself, to just understand how small of an atom you are, and then at other points to obviously be thinking, yeah, but I'm a very special snowflake as well as an atom. Those are very good general ways to kind of just go in and out of that consciousness to help you in those situations. Yeah? However, I think that a very, very important thing in this world is to not let the sort of opaqueness of it mar your thinking. I think that in this world, it's very, very difficult, especially with so many screens that we look at, to be able to just focus on the task at hand that is in front of you. That is becoming rarer and rarer. I think we all understand that. Don't you feel like your ability to, probably not if you're a Zoomer, because you just, I don't know, your mum probably put a phone up a vagina and said, yeah, just watch some wiggles, stop wiggling around. They had that opportunity. But millennials, you sort of understand what it was like to have a world where there wasn't a screen constantly in front of your face all the time. And so you do probably remember having less mental fog than you have now. I think that this is obviously compounded by the fact that we do live in this society that is far too confusing for anybody to fully grasp. And I think that that really does lead to this kind of spacey view of the world, because look, it's a beautiful process in that we don't have anything that is a real direct threat to us. So there's nothing really ever in front of you being like, hey, this is fucking urgent, you have to deal with it now. There's never really anything like that. You're sort of always in this, I'm hungry. That's all you have. It is very difficult to accomplish things in a world where you sort of, it feels like nothing that you do matters. And it also feels like, what do I do? Don't you feel like we're kind of, this is the feeling of modernity. It's sort of like, yeah, society's actually doing pretty well, but I understand that there's things that need to be done, but what are those things? At least if you're a fairly intelligent person, you do look at problems for a long period of time and you realize, oh, the thing that I thought was a problem actually isn't the problem, and this problem is far worse because it's far more sinister, and nobody knows that that is the problem. And that's another big problem of living in one of these very atomized societies where everything is sort of just functioning automatically. In fact, I think that it was the book, oh God, I can't remember his name now, but you guys would know it. I'm a socialist type. Who was the guy? The Unabomber. I can't believe that I'm recommending this sort of self-help channel, but you do read it and you think, he's got us down pat. But he is talking about how society just keeps getting more and more automized, and so people become less and less necessary, and the only way that you sort of slot into that society is by becoming essentially a mechanized cog that is necessary for getting the rest of society to function. Now, you can look at that as an awesome thing or a bad thing. I personally think that why not lean into the fact that you're a cog? Why not? Why not? It's necessary to society. What's your alternative? To be one of these no-hopers that sits there and is like, it's all too big, man. I think that honestly, like, it's really, the game sort of gradually changes over time, but it's pretty much exactly the same as what it was when we were hunter-gatherers. It is task at hand, get that done, then go to the next. You do need to be doing that a lot of your life. And mostly because that is going to make you feel really good about your life. Having things that are in your locus of control. Did you know this? Direct correlation to how depressed you're going to be, how powerless, how anxious you're going to be. All of that seems to be in direct alignment with how much you feel like you are in control of your life. I think that in our day and age, you just sit there and you're like, everything's too big, nothing that I do matters. That is the general mindset of millennials and Zoomers. That is a terrible mindset to have, especially because you have enough of those people with that mindset. The thing that is giving you that mindset, this sort of victim of our own success society, that will collapse because the cogs will stop spinning. I understand that you have this idea in your head that, okay, yeah, like being a cog in the system is wrong. It's like, dude, you know that a system is the thing that is getting your electricity to your house. I do have that basic concept in my mind. The cog is necessary. The cog is absolutely necessary. And even when they're talking about like, oh, billionaires and all this, dude, that is also one of these other cogs. You have no option here. Your only option really is if you want to opt out of society and be one of those guys that dies in the wilderness in Canada. You can do that. But I just don't even think that that's cool. I think that it's just like become an efficient cog that makes the rest of everything work better. That's what the best thing that you can aim for, really, which is creating a better system in your own specific field. And the way that you do that is that you are able to just focus on the task at hand more than everybody else. Now, here's why I am putting this into, this is why it's good to be part of a cog. Because even if you're part of a team, to do anything effectively, you can't really do anything by yourself, first off. You need a team around you, and you need to be part of a team. You need to be a cog in one of those tiny systems to make the rest of the system work. This is just how you get ahead in life. I'm just giving you the bare bones of it. We all know this to be true, yeah? What is always written down in every single self-help manual is how to be more effective. What I've been reading into more, though, is how to be more effective in one of these systems. You know what they found? Because now I'm looking into like, teams and that kind of... So we're looking at sport, we're looking at top corporations. How do they create one of these cultures where everybody is just focused, on task, all the time, building something better, which is an exciting thing to be a part of? Don't you think? That's how you do it. You just become one of these like... You become one of those that is useful. You become a useful cog, damn it. And I'm not even saying... Look, I am one of these cogs. Me. Can you believe it? We're all cogs. How do you become the most effective cog you can be? Look, they found that there is 3 questions that they drill into teams that are going to be really efficient, really effective in the long term, and be moving and making a machine that works better and better through time. It's a very exciting prospect because this is the result of thousands of hours of research, looking at hundreds of companies, and they came to these 3. These are the 3 questions. So they might have like a different way of saying these, but this is the general 3 questions of how you get the most juice out of your day. This is incredible because even if you're not interested in my grand theories about how society may or may not work, which is pretty much at the end of the conclusion, I don't know, but no, just think that the thing that you're always thinking is bad, this mad. Ta-da. Here's how you slot in. Here's how you be part of something that is moving towards an exciting future for everybody. Here's how you get rid of a lot of the cobwebs in your mind and get out of this stupid haze that everybody's in because we have no natural predators stalking us all the time. So you do feel a little more alive. So you do feel a little more energized every day. 3 questions. You need to write these down. Number 1, this is what they are always asking. So I have implemented this at 12. Every day at 12, I'm asking myself this question. This should be working in tandem with what I've been preaching for years, which is that you wake up in the morning and you ask yourself, what am I grateful for? What am I excited about? What am I looking forward to? Those 3 questions. That's how you start your day. So that you're exhilarated at the prospect of having a full 24 hours ahead of you to do what you want. And even if you are somebody that is a cog and sitting there saying, oh, I can't believe that I have to work a 9 to 5. You have many decisions in that day that you have complete autonomy over. And you know this. Even if you have the most micromanaging manager on earth, they can't breathe down your neck every second. So, you've got 3 questions that you should be asking yourself. Here's the first one. What did I just complete? Now, as I said before, I ask myself that 12 o'clock every day. Why am I doing that midday? Because this is a nice little refresher to make me focus on what I have done for the first half of the day, which will set up the second half of your day and the level of effectiveness that you have there. So I am now scared for the first half of my day. I better squeeze some juice out of this so that when I'm answering that, I don't have to sit there and be like, I had a morning woody, and so I had a morning wank. I have to say something. I have to say something good. That's why you're putting that in the middle of the day. Then you are asking yourself this concurrently, straight after this. Honestly, this takes a minute of your time. And this is really going to sharpen how effective you're going to be. Second question is, what am I focused on next? What am I focused on next? What task have I just completed? What am I focused on next? Now, that's cog mentality. That is cog mentality. How much more mechanized could you possibly be? You're just completely turning into a robot of like, which I'm sorry, but we do live in that society where you just need to be more and more productive. You need to become more productive. That's how you get ahead in life. It's just a game of who can be the most efficient. So, what am I focused on next? And then the third question is, and this is huge, what is blocking my progress? Now, if you really want to do something, if you really want to amp up the culture of your work environment, and you want to give everybody this sort of boost of not just motivation, but really feeling a lot better about their lives and where they're going, because you are, instead of just living in this haze of like, what am I doing? Where am I going? You are really specifying in your mind, I'm going this way. This is where I'm going. I have direction now. Huge, very clear, very definite direction. A key of self-help. Always, what am I going to say? Clarity. Key of self-help is always clarity. You are making what you are doing extremely clear by saying, what have I just done? What am I going to do next? And then the next question is, what's blocking my progress? Now, can you imagine if you started asking those questions at your team meetings? Can you imagine how much more effective you would be? It is astonishing to me. There are people that come to me after self-help shows and they talk about them implementing these in their, I don't know, their local council because they're a council worker or, in their sales team. They talk about implementing some of these things that you get in self-help and talking about how much more time they are saving. Time is money. And then when you have more time that you're saving, you have more time to think about how to save more time. And then when you're saving more and more time, what are you doing? You are becoming more effective in the world because you are able to fragment time in these sort of like very specific micro ways. And like a huge part of this is, look at this, right? Like what did I just complete is making you focus for the first half of the day. And then asking, what is my next area of focus after that? What am I focusing on next? That's really going to okay, yeah, all right. Instead of just getting this like haze at the end of the afternoon of like, I've been thinking too much. It's what are we doing now? And then the third thing is just asking, what is blocking my progress? So I'm focused on this. Why isn't this getting done? Because I think that a lot of the time you just space out again. It's not that important. Because in our society, nothing really is that important anymore. Nothing is that urgent. So you need to be focused on that. Anyway, if you like that, make sure that you sign up to Jordan Shanks. I do 3 videos of these a week. That is one example of why it's very important for you to sign up, because I am doing that to you. Really, every one of those videos, if you are to atomize it, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking you personally and giving you the reminder in your head. What are you focused on in life? Where are you going? What have you just done? Having someone give you that pressure is worth its weight in gold. And I'm only asking for 1 gold coin. Really? I'm only asking for less than a Coke. And I'm giving you this is the result of thousands of hours of research. I cannot stress this enough. That is the most important question that you should be asking yourself. What am I doing? What am I doing next? What's stopping me from doing the thing that is next? If somebody is just saying that to you over and over and over again, can you imagine how much more effective you are going to be in life? Can you imagine how much more money you're going to make? Can you imagine how much better you are going to be at your job? Can you imagine how much more satisfaction you're going to have when you can sit there at the end of a week and say, I ticked all of these things off? How do you do it? You give me money. I'll see you next week.